Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Get More Clients. I'm your host, Lynn Whitbeck. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to ignite winning sales because most are chasing down leads, lack client retention, conversion, and profit. The mission of this show is to educate, inspire, and motivate women and men around the world to build a robust sales strategy to get more clients, because many can't get more clients and haven't a clue why. You will learn to transform thinking to the client's perspective, eliminate the lengthy, chaotic sales cycle to ignite your sales and unleash lasting profits. You'll also have the opportunity to connect with me further to see how I can support you beyond today. We've all had situations where something went wrong. Now, this could be in anything, whether in work, in life, in our sales. A recent example that I have is something that went sideways, and I was pretty upset about. I was the customer. I was really upset about what happened. And when I told my counterpart that I was upset about what had happened, she responded by saying, "You have absolutely every reason to be upset. I'm upset as well, and I am so sorry this happened." Now, the great thing about this is, first of all, she was not defensive. She did not try to deflect. She did not try to explain. Then she went on to say, I really, would like to hear from your perspective, how this made you feel and how we could move forward. So we went through that, but the whole thing she did was what I've talked about before. It was client repair. She took the time to really hear me out. And once again, she never tried to deflect. She never tried to explain. She let me voice my concerns. She agreed with me. And then in that moment that I had really said, okay, so moving forward, I used her own words. This is what we should do. I mean, that's sort of, I always say moving forward. So maybe I put those words in her mouth. But because she'd let me do the emotional repair, I was able to just say, well, that happened. Things do go sideways, but she handled it really well. And moving forward, everything's gone flawlessly. Now, another thing that's happened recently was the opposite. As soon as I had an objection to something that was gone sideways, I got complete defensiveness, explaining, and from their perspective, all these things that I didn't care about. It didn't matter to me. I mean, it was about the fact that I had not received what I was supposed to receive. And they had simply failed to do their side of the transaction, to do their job. And so that type of situation was quite different because it made me angrier. First of all, they didn't try to do any emotional repair. They tried to be defensive and deflect. And that actually increases the likelihood that, in this case, never want to do business with them again. When, you've always heard that, the client is always right. Well, the client isn't always right. However, from their perspective, you have to maintain your composure, hear them out, so that you can then move forward in a positive way. So let's dive into this today. And last week, I shared why the 3 R's of referrals accelerate your business growth. And today, I will show you how to repair your client relationship when things go wrong. There is a critical juncture in a client relationship when something goes sideways. It always happens. And we all know, even in the best, strongest relationships, you can encounter a rough patch now and then. This is the inflection point where the relationship can take a wicked turn for the worse, and you can lose that client forever and their goodwill and their good words, or it can become stronger through recovery. By the end of today's show, you will know why emotional repair is crucial to recovery, what it means to truly listen and stop explaining, how to make it right by demonstrating your commitment and relationship value. At the end of the day, how you manage problems, conflicts, disagreements, or challenges with your client determines if it is an opportunity or the end of your relationship. And this is true in all aspects of life, work, and sales. So I've already stated that we all encounter problems, conflicts, disagreements, or challenges in our personal relationships, our work relationships, and with our clients. The key question is, how do you manage this opportunity? Now, here's the thing. We're all human beings. Human beings have emotions. Regardless of what your core personality code is, remember the core is catalyst for someone who's high action, optimizer, somebody who loves blueprints, processes, systems, relator, someone who's a nurturer, and expert, someone who's high knowledge. We're all human beings, and all of these characters, these personality codes are human beings, and you have to allow that emotional repair. And emotional repair is absolutely crucial for recovery. If people don't feel they're being heard and their experience that they had they're not able to express that, it makes them angrier. It plants a bitter seed. And this is this relationship arc where something goes wrong. And this happens all the time. I mean, this is like, I think every rom-com out there has some kind of element of this where something goes wrong. There's a misunderstanding, there's something else. And, how that is handled, of course, those, comparing this to rom-coms is silly. Okay, so let's just stop there. But the whole point, as you can see, is that there's this emotional repair that has to occur, that people have to get past what happened. Because when something goes wrong, that's when your client is the most vulnerable. They truly feel that their trust has been betrayed on some level. Now, with someone like a blueprint or an optimizer, somebody who loves systems and processes, this is a real core shaking of their loyalty, and they are highly loyal. For somebody who's a high action, they're always looking for the next shiny object or the next opportunity. So this is, once again, this is a really critical juncture to maintain that relationship. And for somebody who is a relator, a nurturer, this is something that's, once again, it's that trust, it's the teamwork, it's the relationship that they feel has been fractured. The harmony has been disrupted. And for your expert or high knowledge, it really shakes their perception of your capabilities, your abilities, your knowledge, your expertise. So all of these come into play. And the most crucial thing is letting them tell you how this made you feel. It's absolutely vital. So when you do this and you allow your client to tell you how they felt, and once again, some people you're going to have to sort of draw them out. Don't just brush over it. Oh, everything's fine. Okay, we'll get past this. We'll just go on to the next thing. You've got to actually make a real sincere effort. And I know this had to upset you and disrupt your system. And, you can sincerely apologize, but, please tell me how we can make this right. Let the client tell you. So you don't have to force them to tell you their feelings. Some people, once again, they're that's just not who they are. And you don't want to then make them uncomfortable by forcing them, but talk about the situation or how it impacted their team or how it impacted their operations. So that way they can talk about it. Because when someone verbalizes their thoughts, that's allowing them to release them and put them out there and allow them to sort of dissipate it, sort of like taking the air out of a tire. It's just take that out. When you perform emotional repair, now you're on the path to make it right. All right. And this is the most important piece, is that understanding the emotions and really outlining what the client went through and spending time with that and what they experienced moment to moment, because only your customer can tell you that. This is how you make and perform emotional repair so that you can move on to the next stage. And that's active listening. Active listening is truly about hearing your client, letting them tell you, not explaining, not being defensive, letting them understand how they felt, what they experienced. And these are methods and considerations that you can employ when you're confronted with a problem or disagreement. And you want to respond to ensure that you understand the client's experience. So you want to keep a sharp focus on that. This is the point that your client is most insecure. So remember that when you're having this conversation, this is when they are the most insecure. And I've already talked about it a lot. You've got to perform the emotional repair. And there's different ways you can go about that. If they don't want to tell you how they felt with a relator, it's pretty easy to ask them, how did this make you feel? How did this impact your team? But if it's someone who may be a blueprint or optimizer, they may not respond as well to that. You can instead ask them, how did this impact your team? How did this impact your workflow? And pull some information out that. Now, I want to remind you to stop explaining, even if there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. So back in the day when I was in print sales and I was putting everything together for big events and conferences, store openings, etc. If we were using another shipping method like UPS or FedEx, stuff got stuck in hubs due to weather or other things. That was beyond my control, but I still didn't explain that. That client already knew that, but I needed to let them tell me how upset they were that the item didn't get to the event where they needed it when the event opened, the conference started. I needed to let them tell me so that they could get it off their chest. So now this is critical so that you can listen. And this is that dramatic listening so that you ask more questions. Tell me more. Ask, how did that make you feel? How did that impact your team? Help me understand, how this affected your operations. Anything that you can do there is where it's so critical that you get that information. And it's the most critical thing is it's all about your client's perspective, not yours. Okay? Because they're the decision maker. You mess this up, you don't make it right, you don't listen to them and perform emotional repair, a bitter seed will be planted, and over time, your relationship will sour and they're going to be gone. Okay? Show that you value your client. Then you make it right. And a really great way to put this in perspective, because if you think about it, if you embrace that a complaint is your client's way to help you do business better, and then it's a lot easier to look at getting and asking for that feedback on a regular basis. I know that on one episode, I told you a story about how I was so focused on those initial pain points that they had told me about that I never took the time to ask after the first several orders how things were going, what they liked, what they didn't like, from their perspective. And I ended up losing that business because they didn't like the paper we were using. I can use any kind of paper. That was a shortfall of mine. So as you're walking through and working with your clients, make sure you have those touch points on a regular basis. How is everything going? Tell me more. Is there anything that we could improve that would make things smoother for you? Is there anything that just drives you crazy? I want to hear it. And maybe there's a way that we can solve that. Asking for that feedback is absolutely crucial so that you don't reach these points where things go sideways in a big way. And when things do go sideways, when you've been asking for that all along, they're used to your asking for and receiving that feedback. And it's far more likely that then you can repair the relationship. That is what healthy relationships are about. Whether it's with your clients, with your coworkers, with your loved ones, it's about having an open dialogue and listening, letting them have a safe space to tell you how they're feeling. Not everything has to be fixed right there, but actually letting them talk about it. Because just like in my situation of shipping something to a conference, whether it was FedEx or UPS, and it didn't get there because it got stuck in a hub, well, my client knew that that was not something that was my fault. They knew I couldn't fix it, but they were still really upset. And I needed to let them tell me how upset they were so they could just let it go once they were able to verbalize it. They knew I couldn't fix that. I mean, I actually do. I would always recommend that clients, we split ship it, half UPS overnight and half FedEx overnight, because they use different hubs and the odds are at least half of it would get there. That pretty much always worked. So the thing is, you've got to let them process this and tell you, and then use that active listening to go through. Now, when you make it right, there is a lot of things that you can do up front. All right. So I want you to think about this and think about your business and think about the different ways things can go wrong, such as shipping things to a conference and you're using an alternate carrier. Well, what could be something that you could put in place that would help eliminate that from happening? So in the sense of split shipping it, half of it going FedEx and half of it going UPS. It costs a little bit more, but it was something I could suggest to a client, because if it was critical that something arrive, well, now I've actually got a plan, a proactive plan in place to avoid the mistake or the issue coming up. That's not a mistake. Come on. I mean, avoid that problem from happening. However, there are times that you know that certain things are going to happen. And having a plan for recovery is really important. So once again, this could be where you're making deliveries to multiple locations, even in town, for your client, and the wrong things get delivered to the wrong locations, like the order just gets mixed up. Well, having a plan for how you're going to have a smaller truck or a van available, even yourself, to go out and pick up, redeliver, to get it all sorted, and a plan in place for how you're going to double and triple check what's going where, and that it's clearly labeled before it even goes out the door. That really helps. So there are a lot of different things that you can do to either anticipate things that could go wrong, and what are the process and steps you can put in place to help eliminate that. And if something does go wrong, how do you train and prepare your team to respond to that? That's one of the things, is that the front desk or the receptionist, your phone service, your customer service representatives, they're going to be sometimes that first point of entry when something's gone wrong in that first call. And having them trained on how to respond makes them feel more confident and assured so that they can listen to the client, help start that emotional repair so that then they can direct the next step for the recovery. So you can create a recovery plan for every type of service failure you can anticipate or imagine. And then you make sure that your entire team knows the recovery protocols. And this is how you help them, that front line, whether it's the receptionist, your phone service, the customer service reps, that they can be confident if and when they're faced with a complaint or when something went wrong. And I want to remind you, this is the point that your client is the most insecure. So how it's managed at the very beginning is really important, because great service recovery is planned, it's managed, and it demonstrates how you value your clients. So this is where you can talk about recovery expectations with your client. So when things do go sideways and you want to, you've recovered, but how and what are their recovery expectations? You can ask them in the moment when something's going wrong. What are their recovery expectations? How do they want you to address the problem? Now, there is a key point here. I don't want you to put it on them to fix the problem. You need to have ideas and solutions in place so that you can have that available. That's about planning service recovery. How are you going to take care of that? So when UPS or FedEx doesn't get the order there on time, or it's stuck in a hub, that you can get something out that same day, another partial to get to that event. And how are you going to do it? So there's a number of different things. You can literally sometimes put stuff onto a plane, to get it there. It's a lot more expensive, but you can literally have a point-to-point way to get it there. But that's the type of thing of having that anticipation of what are you going to do to make sure that the client can have that recovery in place, and how you can also leverage their expectations and your recovery plan to get to a positive outcome. Now, this is a classic example, and I know I've provided this before, but everyone can relate to this. You're at a lovely restaurant, you've ordered your dinner, maybe you ordered a steak, and you ordered it medium, and it comes and it's like they barely browned it on both sides. It's like a bloody mess. Sorry, that's really gross, and you're like, if you want your steak medium, you're not going to be happy with that. Now, obviously, the best thing they can do is actually take it immediately, come back, put it on the grill. Don't, if they microwave it, they ruin it, right? They got to have a recovery plan in place. And they can say, some restaurants will actually come with a plate and they will put your potato or your vegetable onto that plate. And then they take the steak with the bloody mess away so that you still have some food there. And the manager then comes by, apologizes that this has occurred, want to make sure that they have everything else that you need. Can they bring you a cup of soup? Can they bring you something else? They want you to know that they're going to take care of the meal. It's not going to be on your bill. And they want to give everyone at the table free dessert or whatever it happens to be. That's that planned recovery. And then they know that they're going to take that plate with the bloody mess and they're going to take the steak and put it back on the grill and get it back, expedite that to get it back to the client correctly. Another way that you can actually anticipate this, and this was at a restaurant, I'll never forget, it was called the Roadkill Cafe up in Maine. I know, once again, why am I going there? But they told you exactly how your steak was going to be prepared if you ordered it rare, medium, medium well, or well. They told you exactly what to expect on the menu. And that was exactly how they served their steaks. Isn't that great? I mean, that's like anticipating up the beginning so that if somebody thinks that they're ordering their steak medium well, but what they really want is well, then they know exactly how it's going to come from that restaurant. Fabulous. Now, through all of this, and when you're doing this client repair, this is where you also can anticipate and bring in those core personality codes. Remember your catalyst, optimizer, relator, and expert. Now, with your catalyst, you are going to, you can use words like this will actually create a new opportunity for us to be able to win together when we resolve this issue. Now, and if they have an aversion like to optimizer, that is something that they can be polar opposites. Don't talk about the processes or the systems. Everyone has a balanced code. So sort of look at that. With that optimizer, you are going to want to talk about that you're going to go through the process, you're going to outline everything, you're going to put a new system in place. These things all appeal to your optimizer. You know, they want to know that you have a plan, that you have a blueprint. Now, with the relators and your nurturers, they want to know that you're going to take care of their team, that they're going to be involved, and that you want to create harmony in not only your relationship, but in the solution. And with those who are experts, those high knowledge, you're going to want to talk more about what you learned from this, how you can apply that knowledge, and how you're going to really leverage that for the future. So those are going to appeal to them. Now, remember, everyone is it has all of the codes in the relationship. And it's all about great service, because great service recovery is planned, it's managed, and it demonstrates how you value your clients. Clients come to you for an outcome or a product, but they remember you for the delightful experience you create for them. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. My purpose is for you to get more clients. Bottom line, don't make this harder than it has to be. Sales should be a win-win. And on behalf of Petite Queen, I've carved out a limited number of time slots to invite you to hop on and ignite your sales call with me to see what's working, not working, and what you would love to have working. I'm going to see how I might further support you and effectively generating more leads, converting more sales, and fulfilling on your promise as a brand and organization. The fastest way to success is to assure people know that they matter. And the best way to make this happen is to build a consistent sales strategy to acquire, convert, and capitalize on every lead. You will find growing your business is easy and lucrative. Today, we explored how to repair your client relationship when things go wrong. The key is for you to implement these steps to stop wasting time, energy, and resources. You have the opportunity to jump in and get the support you need for true success. Say yes to you and get on a call with me. I am really, truly gifted at this, and you deserve a shortcut to your success with the right support. You can also learn more about our Get More Clients Consulting, which is designed for immediate on-the-fly implementation and for individuals committed to taking action to move their business forward. To learn more about our consulting services, you can visit our website at petitequeen.com. You can also connect with me there on our website, and to stay current on all of our insightful advice, breakthrough advantages, and never miss an episode of Get More Clients, please sign up for our weekly wisdoms newsletter at petitequeen.com. Next week on Get More Clients, I have a special guest, and we will be discussing why list building is the perfect fast track to grow your sales. Make sure you don't miss a single episode by subscribing to Get More Clients wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love the show, please share it and give us a 5-star review. We would very much appreciate it. I will see you next week on Get More Clients.